Hi, everybody. How's it going? People showing up, so wait a few minutes. So a few more people get here. If you're already here, you can, if you have your mat, great. If you need water or something else to sip on, grab it. You might want to have a blanket so you can just pull a throw off your couch or just grab a thin blanket. I just have like a little fleece blanket. Might be helpful for today just to relieve some pressure under the knees at a few points. And then we will get started in just a moment. If you have music, you can put it on in the background. There you go, more people popping in. You can just put on a quiet playlist in the background if you'd like. If you want to go with no music, that's fine too. Any favorite album, it's totally up to you. That is the beauty of a home practice. You can do whatever you want. Good evening. This is Yin. I know a lot of you take this later, so if you're taking it later, you can still comment below. In the description of this video, I put a link to my Spotify so you can follow any of the playlists. You can also just click follow to follow me so you can see all of my playlists. And it'll be a Yin style practice, so we're not trying to get warm and create a lot of stretching. It's more to open up connective tissues and kind of undo a lot of the damage we have done to our bodies over time. So again, we'll get started. If you have a blanket, grab it. You'll just want it nearby. And that's about all you need. If you want to start music, go for it. You can find an easy seat, just cross legs on your mat. Sit up tall. It's whatever's comfortable in the legs and the body. Feel the hips ground down into the mat. Rest your hands where it's comfortable, so maybe resting on the knees or folded in your lap. Feel your shoulders shrug down the back, and then allow your eyes to close. We're not trying to control the breath in this practice. Just be conscious of taking some deep, full breaths. Not necessarily a breath with sound, just let the air flow in through the nose. And then with the eyes closed, you can be really aware of the air flowing out through the nose. Maybe creating a gentle sensation on the upper lip. Drop into some silence here and just begin to observe what's present in your body. Keep the eyes closed for a few moments more. As humans, we learn very early on how to categorize things. We get really good at kind of starting to make those judgments of what's good or what's bad, what makes us happy, what makes us angry. We want to assign a label to everything. Today, just notice when those judgments maybe bubble up. Even when you judge your body in a pose, you can notice that, but maybe don't assign a feeling. Just notice that your body is exactly where it needs to be. Even in the shape as you fidget, you can bring the attention back to your breath. It takes practice to unlearn that habit in our lives. You can blink your eyes open. Then, facing the front of your mat, come to sitting on your shins. Your knees are going to be close together, feet close together. Again, you might slide your blanket underneath the knees if that helps. Go ahead and stand up on your knees just a little bit so you can tuck the toes under. So we're not trying to be right on the tippy toes, we're actually trying to bend the toes and get the ball of the foot close to the mat. So the toes are really stretching here. Then notice if the heels try to come away from each other, pull them back together, and begin to lean back. Adding an arm variation with this today, we're going to add eagle arms. So for the first part, take your right arm underneath the left. You're going to wrap your forearms and press your palms together. That's really challenging in the shoulders and the arms. You can give yourself a big hug. Feel the palms cross as the elbows lift. Close your eyes, and for just about 1 minute, see if you can stick with this shape. Try to keep a lot of the weight of the hips back toward the heels. Don't lean forward too much. Sensations might be getting really strong in the toes. Breathe into that. Keep lifting your elbows in front of you. Feel the stretch in the shoulders. About 3 more breaths right here. In and out. Release just the arms. If the feet need a break, you can rock some weight forward into the knees just for a breath or two. Then try to come right back and change sides. So this time, left arm wraps underneath and around the right. Palms pressed together, elbows lift. About 1 more minute right here. You can do it. Use your breath. If it gets to be too much, you rock some weight forward into the knees. Then when you can, come back to resting back hips toward the heels. Just about 3 more breaths. One more big inhale. Exhale, release your arms. Hands come down in front of the knees to rock forward with a moan or a groan. I know. Untuck the toes. Keep the feet close together, the knees close together, and just sit back again. So this time the tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. Try to keep the heels pulling in toward one another. Then begin to walk your hands back behind you. Just leaning back may be enough. If you can, begin to pick the knees up a couple inches off the mat, stretching through the front of your ankles. We'll only be here for a few breaths, so really try to lean back. Enjoy the counter stretch after all of that opening through the soles of the feet. Keep floating the knees off and that lean back. Use your breath to create calm. Even when there might be a lot of thoughts drifting through the mind and a lot of sensation floating through the body. One more inhale. Exhale, lower the knees down. Rock forward. Just so you can use your hands to help you swing your legs around in front of you. And just slide your blanket off to one side. Bring the soles of your feet close together. So the feet don't have to be too close to the hips here. You can adjust the distance. The farther the feet are away, the more you're going to stretch the backs of your legs. So you want them in close enough that maybe you get that stretch through the hips from the low back. You don't need the help of your hands today. So we're going to keep this at a passive stretch. Just begin to walk your hands forward, grounding in the belly, releasing the weight of the head. Just let gravity do the work. Your job is to breathe and to soften, releasing any tension you're holding on to. Eyes can close. Relax through the shoulders and the belly. Again, maybe noticing when that judgment bubbles up. Do not assign a label. Maybe just observe where you're at and notice that's where you need to be. It doesn't need a label of good or bad. It doesn't matter how far forward you fold. Continue to soften with the breath and allow the eyes to close. Maybe holding on to the weight of your head. Maybe resisting the fold with your belly. Just notice those tensions. Try to release them for this last little bit. Move slower than you think you need to. Locking the hands in a handprint at a time. Roll up through the spine. The head is the last thing to rise. Sit up tall here. Feel the hips press down. Feel any rush of sensations as you release the pose. Lean straighten the legs in front of you. Lean back on the hands for a moment. Just lift the heart toward the sky. Okay, for the next shape, you might need your blanket. I'm going to suggest coming to the long ways of your mat. Come to a tabletop pose, hands and knees. You want the mat under your knees for some support. You might want the blanket under your knees for some support. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see better. Once you find tabletop, try to keep your hips stacked right on top of the knees. And then with some weight in your hands, you might begin to widen the knees out. So you don't want the hips to start sinking back. You want the hips to stay stacked right over the knees as you slide the knees wider. You may be able to come down to your forearms. If you're fairly open through the hips, you might be able to lie the belly down or the forehead down. In this frog pose, the sensations build and they're quite intense. So listen to your body. Give your knees the cushion they need with a blanket or a pillow or a towel. Try to keep the hips over where the knees are not sinking back. And don't bring the toes together. Try to keep them pretty wide. As wide as the knees, not wider. Release the weight of your head. Breathe in. And then just notice as the body softens into the shape. You need a smooth, steady breath here to stay calm. As the sensations get stronger, can you breathe and just observe what's happening without judgment? Again, if anything is sharp or painful, back off, slide in, come out a little bit. But if it's just a dull ache, try to stick with it. Breathe into it, remain calm, use your breath. Keep breathing. You have about 5 more breaths. Can you hang in there? Breathe. You have 2 options here. If it feels better to sink the hips toward the heels for a child's pose, go for it. If it feels better to slide forward onto your belly, you can do that. Oh, with a moan and a groan is pretty common. If you sunk back to child's pose, go ahead, slide forward onto your belly and turn either cheek to the mat. Maybe just celebrating that you're not in that shape anymore. It's usually pretty challenging for the body and the mind. Release everything. The head is turned one way, you can turn it the other way. Go ahead and rise up to hands and knees. Swing your legs around in front of you, come to a seated position, and slide your blanket off to the sides. We're going to move into what we call square or double pigeon pose. So go ahead and start in a cross-legged seat, but make sure your right leg is crossed on the outside, so your left heel is closer to you. And then begin to scoot the feet forward, so away from you. Now, if this is already really intense, if your knees are pretty high, your hips are tight, and you're feeling this in your hips, that might be where you stay. The next step would be to take your right foot, you can use your hands to help, and stack it on top of the left knee. And then again, wiggle that left foot out so the shins are starting to stack. If that's intense enough, stay right there. If you need more in your hips, you can begin to really slide the feet out so the feet and the knees are directly stacked, so you're moving your shins a little bit more on top of each other, so moving this way. So wherever you land, as long as you're feeling this in your hips and not your knees, you're in the right place. If that's enough, just sitting up tall, you can sit up tall, eyes closed. You want to add a forward fold, you might walk the hands out to the floor in front of you, round through the spine. Breathe here. In the square pose. Smooth and steady breath. Begin to soften and let the eyes close. Just notice how the breath and the stillness over time can sometimes create some change. More sensation. Keep the air moving in and out through your nose. A little while longer, a few more breaths. Go ahead and walk the hands in. And sit up tall. Okay, listen carefully. From here, your right leg is stacked on top right now. That's the only leg that's going to move. Take that top leg, uncross it, and swing it outside and behind you so it's pointed back behind you. So your left shin didn't move. It's still pretty parallel to the front of the mat. Your right leg came out to the side and is bending behind you, the side of your foot resting on the ground. So notice here both hips pressing into the ground. We call this deer pose. If you can, if the feet are coming in really close, try to slide them away from you to create a right angle in your legs. You can just stay here sitting up tall, grounding down through both hips as much as you can. If you want to add a twist, you'll twist to your left. Right hand rests on the left knee, left hand can plant behind you. A few breaths just as a counter stretch. And your inhale, come back to the center. And swing your right leg back in front of you. We're going to change sides. So I'll turn to face you again. This time you're going to find crisscross legs, but the left shin is going to be on the outside, left leg on the outside. Again, notice if you just wiggle the feet forward away from you a little bit, that might be enough. If you feel something in the hips and it's pretty strong, stay right there. That's totally fine. Next step would be to pick up the left leg, begin to stack, to wiggle the right foot out a little bit. Notice that the legs are stacking. If you need more, go for foot over knee, knee over foot. So push the legs closer together. Once you're there, you can sit up tall. If it feels all right, you might begin to walk the hands out and fold forward. Use the breath. Keep it moving in and out. Let the head hang heavy. Just observe the difference between the sides. A little while longer, a few more breaths. If you're in a forward fold, you can begin to walk the hands in, roll up, sit tall. From here, the right leg stays where it's at. Your top leg, your left leg will swing behind you. So slide it out to the side, bring your foot behind you, front shin, pretty parallel to the front of the mat, creating a 90-degree angle, and then left leg is out to the side, foot is behind you. You can either just sit up tall, grounding down through both hips. If you want a little bit more, twist to the right. This time, left hand reaches across to rest on the right knee. A few breaths here. Your inhale, turn back to the front. Use your exhale to maybe lean back on the hands and swing both legs in front of you. Grab a sip of water or whatever else you're drinking. You can roll all the way down onto your back. Legs are long. Bring your feet close together. And then take the arms overhead. You might be able to catch, right hand would catch the left wrist first, or you can just hold your opposite elbows. Then with keeping both hips on the ground, you're not going to roll the hips to one side or another. You're going to wiggle your shoulders over to the right. And then begin to wiggle the feet over to the right. So your bum didn't move. Just the shoulders and the feet wiggled over to the right. You're creating a banana shape in your body. The left hip needs to be on the ground still. So if the left hip rolled away from the ground, move back a little bit and get it to make contact. You want to extend the arms. So you would be pulling the left wrist gently just to extend through that side. Feet are pretty close together. Eyes are closed. Breath is natural. Pretty natural for the hands to get a little bit tingly when they're overhead for a while. So that happens. Just know it's pretty normal. You can breathe into it. The sensation gets distracting. Just lower your arms to your sides for a moment and then you can come back. And stay right here with the shape. If you'd like a little bit more, take the left ankle and cross it over the right ankle. So legs are still close and straight. Just adding a little bit more of a stretch along the left side body. Keep breathing. Notice if you can maybe wiggle the feet a little bit more to the right. Let's slide the shoulders over a little bit more again, trying to keep that left hip making contact with the mat. Begin to slowly wiggle the feet back toward the center. And then the shoulders back to the center. You can lower your arms down by your sides and cross the ankles if they were crossed. Maybe for a breath or two, walk your feet in. And press the low back down here with the feet planted or hug the knees into the chest. So maybe doing a little circle one way and then the other. And you can extend the legs long. Keep the feet close. Arms extending overhead. This time the left hand is catching the right wrist. Notice both hips. Your entire bum is on the floor, on the mat. Keep the hips just like that as you begin to wiggle and wriggle your shoulders over to the left this time. Arms long or holding the elbows. Once you find that point of resistance, keep the hips exactly where they are without rolling and begin to wiggle the feet over to the left. Again, creating that banana shape. Moving toward the left this time. Ankles start uncrossed. Feel the right hip grounding down and then just breathe as you keep the eyes closed. You can stay right here. Begin to cross right ankle over left ankle, legs still straight and long. Again, if that tingly sensation comes up in the hands, just lower the arms down to the sides for a moment or just wiggle the hands and breathe into it. Pretty natural. Just notice if you can wiggle the shoulders any more to the left or the feet any more to the left without picking up that right hip. Don't let the body roll. Keep breathing into the side body stretch. And wiggle the shoulders back toward the center. And the legs back toward the center. Uncross the ankles and lower the arms. The feet walk in. And you plant the feet to press the low back down. Or again, hug the knees into the chest. making little circles one way and then the other. The knees aren't already hugged in, hug both of them in close to the chest. Big inhale here. And then on your exhale, let both knees fall over to the right. Arms can open to a T as your head rolls to the left. Try to let everything go here. You're not holding on to the weight of your legs. Let them land where they may. Head rolling to the left with the eyes closed. Both shoulders still on the ground. A soft breath in and out through the nose. Go ahead and inhale your knees up through the center. Give both knees a squeeze. Big inhale here. And then exhale both knees to the left. Let your head roll to the right. Soften the knees down. And let your shoulders stay grounded. Go ahead and inhale, knees back through the center. Give yourself one last big squeeze. And begin to extend your legs long. Stay with you for the next few moments. You're always welcome to extend this Shavasana longer. It's your practice, but we'll spend just a few moments in stillness and rest together with a natural breath. The eyes closed or covered. Take rest. Shavasana. Go ahead, take a big inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Reach the arms overhead for a nice long stretch. And gently roll to one side or rock straight up. We'll meet an easy seat. And find cross legs. Press the palms together in front of your heart. Take an inhale, sit up top. Exhale, fold forward, seal your practice. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, blink your eyes open. Namaste. Thanks for being here, you guys. Happy Tuesday. If you're watching this later, make sure to click a little thumbs up, like it, let me know you were here, or leave a comment if you are here and you want to say hi. Thanks, Yossi. I'm glad you're here. You can always rewatch it later if you missed some of the poses. Let's see, tomorrow I think Mackenzie's teaching in the morning, and it's Andy's birthday. So if you're friends with Andy or you like his class, make sure you go over to his Instagram and check that out. Say hi to him. And then I teach next on Saturday for Slow Flow. And then Sunday we'll stick with yoga cardio. Everybody seems to enjoy that. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have an awesome evening. Thanks for being here.